It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Remember when you were a youngster and you went to Grandma's house, and in her kitchen on the stove was that big giant pot. It had the gauge on top of it. You know the pot I'm talking about. It was the pressure cooker. You know, remember those grandmas that used to cook up the beans and the beets and put them in the mason jars? And she'd tell you, when I'm using the pressure cooker, stay the hell out of the kitchen. It might blow up and kill you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the Imaging Channel, I believe the whole entire Imaging Channel is inside a pressure cooker. And over the last 5 years, that pressure's been building up so bad. And guess what? I don't believe the channel's paying attention to the gauge, or the gauge is broken, and that pot's about ready to explode. At the very least, a whole lot of pressure is going to have to get relieved come August. You know, this pandemic started in March, April time frames, and people thought it'd be over in a month. And then they ran around and did crazy-ass manipulating leases and doing some stupid things to try to drive revenue. And now we're going into August, and it's going to be time to pay the piper for all the things and stupid things that we did March, April, and May. The pressure of the Imaging Channel is about ready to explode. Do you remember in 2017 when Rico said we're getting out of the direct business because we can't deliver to market print equipment and its services in the form it has to be delivered profitably? They talked about how the hardware prices were declining, how service revenues were declining. They shed themselves of all their direct operations, nearly all of them. They kept the enterprise space. I would imagine today they're wishing they would have got rid of that as well. They might just do that. I believe here's what's going to happen. I like to predict some stuff. I think some of the manufacturers that have these big direct operations will probably be giving some of that distribution back to dealers. Be careful, dealers. You might want to make them pay you to take it. Ladies and gentlemen, as we were building up the pressure in the pot, to ease some of that pressure, we could have looked outside of our borders for acquisitions that made more sense than buying up other copier companies. Remember when I talked about buying CPA firms, IT security services firms? Remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was talking about IT services and how important it was to pivot into that deliverable? And as soon as we felt a little pressure from that diversification, what did we do? Well, we went right back into the comfort zone, and we really never diversified. Folks, this is a problem. And the way we're going to fix it is we got to ease a lot of pressure out of that pot. We got to ease a lot of pressure. The gauge is broken, trust me. Ease some of the pressure out of there. Shed some weight. We're going to have to make tough decisions. There will be new leadership in the Imaging Channel, I assure you. August, September timeframes, we will see new leadership. And as these new leaders come into play, I beg them to look at human capital. I beg them to diversify their human capital, to really understand the only way we're going to relieve the pressures of an outdated deliverable is to create the new deliverable. And that new deliverable must be around services. You know what would really relieve a lot of pressure for the Imaging Channel? Change your damn name and become MSPs right now. Managed service providers. Become managed service providers right now. Currently, you deliver more print than the other services, but if you set your mind that you're a service provider, if you set your mind that you're going to sell services, if you set your mind that you're going to build all your processes around selling services and not products, guess what you'll do? You'll survive. You'll thrive. You'll relieve enough pressure that the pot doesn't explode and ruin the kitchen. Because I got to be honest with you, when those numbers hit the street in August and people start looking at the numbers of the channel, of the industry, those numbers are going to be horrific. We better have some plans to explain our path forward. Because if we don't, that pot will in fact explode. And just like Grandma said, it'll probably kill you. I'm going to end my time like I always do. Status quo is the killer of all that will be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.